Hello everybody! I know I have not used my voice in a very long time in these kind of videos, but I did want to talk about episode 2 of the Amazing Digital Circus, since it did just drop and I am actually I really like it, okay? And I want to yap about it for like 20 minutes, so I'm sorry if this video is long, but you're gonna have to sit through it. Okay, so major spoilers ahead, obviously, if you haven't seen the pilot for it, or episode 2, but I'm gonna basically be covering what this episode had to offer, and what it was about, and a few things that I noticed, a few things that I liked, character growth, the soundtrack, basically everything. Okay, so the pilot of the show was introduced 6 months ago, and successfully gained over 300 million views, and a lot of people in the fandom, so woohoo! Now that episode 2 is out, I want to talk about it because I found something very interesting, and there was nothing crazy like finding the exit or if they'll leave, but rather the growth in the characters and, you know, digging deeper into their lives. But I'll get into that later. What happened in this episode? Well, basically, Kane sent them on an adventure to the Candy Canyon Kingdom. And then they were put to a quest to go find the people who stole the kingdom's syrup. Yeah, the main antagonist of the gang consists of Gummy Goo and two others, short arm guy and long arm guy. Yeah, that was their two differences. Right away, the gang is put into a truck and sent to rescue the syrup, and then Pomni gets stuck on the roof of the antagonist's car and later being glitched into the floor, under the map or something. Anyway, the scene of Gummy Goo and Pomni talk about their problems and how they relate to each other and really dig deeper into NPCs' lives and even Pomni's. On Tumblr, Goose posted that this episode would be about depression, and I can clearly see that in Gummy Goo. Later, they clip out of the place, and this scene is very ship-like, and I can see why people ship them, and I don't like it. Meanwhile, Jax and the rest of the gang meet the Fudge Monster, which is such a goober, by the way, and Jax is honestly a prick. Later, Pomni and Gummy Goo land on them, and then they quickly begin talking about how Gummy Goo is going to go to the circus with them, and everybody's very iffy on it, though Jax is pissed, and was not very happy that it was not a super wacky, crazy, violent adventure like he thought it would be. Then they went back to the kingdom to return the syrup from the clone of the car that they got from the underplace thingy. And then the adventure's over, until Jax let the Fudge Monster in again, but that's for another time. Then the circus gang goes back to the tent, and so does Gummy Goo, before he kinda exploded.
Wait, what?
Then Pomni kinda broke down, and then Kane disappeared and popped away. Then Zubul came behind Ragatha and told her that there was gonna be a funeral for Kaufmo, and that it was all super ready, and I thought this scene was actually really cute. Everybody went except for Jax, and I'm gonna talk about the scene later. Okay, so that basically sums up the entire episode. Now here's what I think about it. Not gonna lie, I thought this was gonna be just an average episode, though it was absolutely phenomenal and so cute. Okay, starting off with Pomni's dream, I thought this scene was a little odd, but it made sense for the plot, and it definitely correlates with the end of this episode. The animation was absolutely stunning, and the cast did amazing. And Bubble became even more unhinged than I thought they could get.
Sounds
Bubble, you can't sing.
I thought the scripting was also very good too. And a part that I do really want to focus on is the part where Gummy Goo and Pomni talk in the place thingy underground. This part shows that the show's not just going to be about finding an exit or trying to escape the circus, but also about the struggles of mental disorders, like feeling like you're not real or nothing, like derealization or depersonalization, as Gummy Goo says here.
Matter in the slightest. I'm nothing. My life. My memories, my friends, it's all fake.
And now Pomni also says that she can somewhat relate and also asks how they are and being there for them.
may seem weird, but I think I know the feeling.
Discussing that you don't feel real or anything like that is a very big topic, and the way this show handles it is absolutely incredible. Opening up about things like Pomni does, and not saying that she knows exactly the feeling or somewhat close to the feeling is a very good way of putting it. Because everyone has dealt with some sort of depression, whether you know it or not, because it's normal in this day. Feeling like you're nothing, especially in the world that we have today.
Well, maybe not the exact feeling, but feeling like you're nothing is kind of normal. I mean, people even feel like that in the world I came from.
But the way Pomni asks about his friends,
But you still care about your buddies up there, don't you? I'm sure they still care about you.
really shows how much she does care. Even though if he says he doesn't matter, she still offers to help.
I guess I just don't want you to feel like you're nothing. I don't want anybody to feel like that.
Gummy Goo also says that he just feels like an object or an obstacle for people to go through.
Just obstacles. Created to be defeated and forgotten.
And Pomni responds with, "You don't have to be one,"
You don't have to be.
which is a very powerful message in the way that you can change the way people or even yourself can see you. Later on, he goes on to say,
But I'm not even a real person.
which Pomni says that,
I'm sure you wouldn't belong any less than me.
which is a great line, but also gives us a little bit of lore that the NPCs are less than them, than the actual players, but they are all just code. Another scene I want to focus on is Kaufmo's funeral. The fact that they hold funerals for one another is absolutely adorable and amazing. I loved this scene so much, and it kind of made me tear up, to be honest. Something that did catch my attention was the way when the main theme started playing, it called back to the start of the episode when Pomni's dream was going on, and the circus members lifted her out of the void, giving the illusion that they're always there for her and that she's always there for them. This kind of poses the message as if you're going through something, you're not alone. Like how Pomni isn't alone in the circus and people know exactly what she's going through. The way Pomni realizes this is incredible and puts an incredible message into the story as well. This also leads me to my next topic, which is about the character growth. Starting with Jax, he's pretty normal, and the first few minutes before Cain sent them away to the Candy Canyon Kingdom, he's kind of an asshole to Gangle when they right when they get to the Canyon Kingdom. Like, I'm sorry, but you have no place to treat that poor ribbon like that. He was also such a jerk to Pomni and the rest of the crew and chose violence, and was upset when there was no violence in the adventure. And when he heard about Kaufmo's funeral being held, he looked sympathetic for a second and then just walked away, which leads me to the conclusion that Jax definitely does care about the people that he's stuck with, but masks it in a sort of way that's pretty odd. This is in fact a very real thing that happens in real life. Mass depression can be described as somebody looking fine on the outside, but really struggling on the inside. Some symptoms along this might correlate to Jax by changes in appetite, as we saw in the pilot, irritability to other members, feelings of guilt, as seen in the scene he sees Kaufmo's funeral, and forced happiness. He does care for everyone, just doesn't like to show it. Maybe this will lead us to how he was in his former life, not being able to express his emotions properly, or being told that he's a man and should not have to cry, which is a very common phenomenon, and this happens with a lot of men or different people of different genders, which this is completely wrong, and people should be able to express their emotions however they want, no matter what gender they are. Anyway, moving on. Regatha's character growth was also something I did want to highlight. In one scene, Kinger tells her about how it took her a while to adjust to the circus as well.
It's a lot for anybody to go through. Don't take it too personally. I remember how long it took for you to adjust.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you remember that.
Remember what?
And she agreed, and was surprised that he remembered, maybe showing that she was here longer than we think. And also showing a lot of sympathy for Pomni, even though she did abandon her for an exit, she was still able to care for her, and we're also shown that she does think quite lowly of herself.
To find her.
I'm more worried she's having another horrible experience. She still seems really upset about what happened yesterday. I don't think she really likes me that much.
Seeing that she does not think that Pomni likes her at all. The rest of the characters didn't have that much of character growth, except Zubul did stay back on the adventure, and we're shown that she does care for other people as well. She can get quite emotional, as seen when she's talking about Kaufmo. Of course, we cannot hear her or anything, but she does look very, very upset. Gangle, however, we didn't see much of her happy mask as I thought we would, which, you know, not that much character growth here. But we can also just see how much she gets tossed around and everything, and it kind of sucks. Kinger didn't have that much of character growth either. He just knows everybody, I guess. The last thing I want to talk about is the OST, because I think the OST was absolutely phenomenal. If you don't know what an OST is, it's basically the background music, and just listen to the music when they go shooting out of the Anyway, the rest of the OST was absolutely phenomenal, and here's the clip where it plays Goose's leaked music in that one Twitter post. There you go. Overall, this episode did just show us how much that this show will be covering. Not only are they just going to try and find exits and find out who they were in their previous life or try and get back to the real world, but also just focusing on mental health and how everything is, leading up to that. Since most of the show is just only on that, since sharp things like knives obviously do not affect them, mental health is the top priority in this and should be focused on a lot more, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. Especially how it played out in this episode was actually really interesting to see. I can't wait to see more of this show, and that's going to cover it for this. I hope you all liked this episode of me covering stuff, and I hope you go watch the actual episode because it's absolutely phenomenal, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!